Love and Watches is a podcast for male and female watch lovers alike. Perpetual Girl and Ranch Racer are a watch-crazy wife and husband team bringing you the latest in news, gossip, controversy, and anything else that matters in the world of watches. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, Watch Fam, this is Ranch Racer.
And Perpetual Girl.
Welcome to episode 13 of the Love and Watches podcast.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13. We're, I guess, appropriately enough, we're approaching Halloween. I can't believe it's late October already. It's pretty amazing. We started this podcast early this year. I think back in April was our first episode. So, man, it just feels like the time has flown by. But anyway, I don't think we have any plans for Halloween, do we?
We never do.
No.
We don't get trick-or-treaters out here.
We don't get trick-or-treaters, and it's hard for us to get away to go to Halloween parties and pretty much all of our...
No, we don't get invited to Halloween parties.
I don't know if it's that we don't get invited. It's that there's no adult Halloween parties anymore because people that are our age have children. So it's more about the trick-or-treating and the children. And when we lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, we were in the South Bay in San Jose.
On a very busy street.
Right. But then we would go trick-or-treating with our friends and their kids and that kind of stuff.
That was cute.
Up here where we are now in the country, we don't get
We used to run out of candy.
Yeah, we did. We used to run out of candy.
And I counted and we had I think one year we had to spend like $250 on candy.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad I didn't realize that at the time.
Well, and you had to go down to the market.
I did have to go down one year to get more like in the middle of the evening.
That was the last year we did it. We used to decorate and do all this fog machine things, and then our fog machine and some stuff got stolen.
Oh, right. That's right.
Remember, under our nose? Like
that was amazing.
We were literally sitting 5 feet from the porch inside the house, and someone came up and snagged
I went to go clean stuff up, and I'm like, oh,
it's all gone.
It's already cleaned up for me. Great. Awesome.
But we digress.
Yeah, but I'm just amazed that we're already in October, and you go to the store, and there's already Christmas stuff out. I mean, we haven't even hit Halloween, and all the Christmas stuff is out.
Speaking of Christmas,
well, that's kind of where I was going with this. Is that so? For today's topic, we'll get into wrist checks in a second. But we thought the timing was right to talk about gift giving when it comes to watches. As we are in late October, we're getting to that point where people are starting to shop for Christmas, which
or gathering reconnaissance data.
Yeah, well, and if you like I do, I always leave everything to the last minute, and then it's totally stressful. So we thought rather than do an episode for you guys in the middle of December, we would do it now and give you some gift ideas. And I think the way we're going to do this, we've each chosen 3 watches for under $500. I've chosen 3 that I would love to receive as a gift, or that I think it would be great gifts for men. And then you've chosen 3 that would be great gifts for women under $500. Mm-hmm.
And of course, I picked them, so obviously it's things I like, but there are some variations, so it can go. And I'll talk more about that when we get to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to pick stuff we don't like. We're going to pick stuff we both like, and then we also there'll be some accessories thrown in too if you're interested in maybe getting some accessories for a loved one. So anyway, that's what this episode is going to be about. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm not going to cover any watch news today. I don't think there's really anything that groundbreaking going on in the industry. So why don't we jump into the wrist checks? I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. I've done this watch before on the show, and it's the medium Cartier Santos. I have the stainless bracelet on it today because I was kind of feeling like wearing this because my choices for the watches for gift giving are all tank style watches, actually.
Which is a little different than this one, but it's a little more. The tank is a little more tall and skinny. Right. This one's a little more square, but
it's rectangle.
But in the theme of the show, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And this watch is out of, it's not in the budget of what we're going to be talking about, but I picked some that are really, really pretty. So you can get a similar style, a similar feel, and you don't have to spend a lot of money.
So what do you like about this particular watch, about your Cartier? I mean, you love this watch. You
yeah,
kind of lusted after it for a long time.
It's one of my favorites. I say that about all my watches, don't I?
You do, yeah. But that's good, because if you don't like a watch, why do you have it? So.
I wouldn't buy it. So the thing I like about this is the shape, the traditional styling they use, like the little screw heads, the white dial, Roman numerals. It's
nice
pretty
and thin.
It's thin. It's a pretty big watch too, but it's just really classy. And having this set up with the quick release band changes is amazing. I mean, you can put, unfortunately it's proprietary bands, so they're pretty pricey, but you can change your look so easily with this. Like I wore a cute red and pink polka dotted dress to a birthday party, a couple weeks ago, and I put the pink band on it. It looked really cute. And you can use the stainless for, a sporty look. The black band looks incredible on you. The brown one is also a really traditional style looking.
Yeah, I like that brown.
Really pretty. So, I love everything about it. The only thing if I had to complain about it, is that it doesn't have lume on the hands.
It's more of a dress watch.
Yeah.
It is, but it's sporty. I guess it's more of it's a sport watch, I guess you could say, right?
It is, but it's also so traditional. The style's been around for so many years.
Well, supposedly it is the first quote unquote pilot's watch.
Wrist watch, yeah.
Well, yeah, the first pilot watch, because the dude, Santos, who was going to go fly his aeroplane back in the early 1900s, I think.
He asked for a watch that he could put on his wrist.
Yeah, that he could easily read, because taking a pocket watch out while you're trying to fly an airplane, I guess, wasn't such a good idea. So that was, it's not what you think of when you think of a pilot watch with, big round, and like a Flieger style, but it was the first watch made for a pilot specifically. Mm-hmm. So it's got a neat history. And I think even more than the quick release band, I love the quick adjust bracelet. Yeah. That is amazing. Oh, yeah.
You can use your fingers.
It's incredible.
You don't even need tools for this. You can just, if you get good at it, you can just press the little buttons and they pop out and you press them in with your fingernail.
Yeah. And it's great because this watch we share. I mean, it's such a perfect size for a man or a woman, regardless of your wrist size. I personally think the large is too big. The medium is absolutely perfect. You can share it between the two of you. And the fact that within like 30 seconds, I can have that bracelet band adjusted, right? It's really incredible.
The large does have the date on it though, which I really like, because if you're writing a check, you need to know what the date is. And I know you're going to tease me, but you live in the country, you write a lot of checks.
Well, I personally like dates. I don't need my watches to have dates, but I just think from a size perspective, that thing is so perfect. It looks good on pretty much any size wrist. It's been a great one for us to share.
I love it. And the watches I chose are in the same flavor.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's a really nice piece.
I've also got a little bracelet on the other hand that's a silver with some blue topaz stones in it that I got for my birthday.
Cool.
Because I'm going to talk a little bit about jewelry too. Not a lot, but
all right.
That's going to be part of my trifecta of gifts.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, me?
Your turn.
Okay. I need a drum roll. This is a really special wrist check for me. I mentioned this watch on the last show, and between the last show and recording episode 13, it came in. And I just got it delivered to the house yesterday. And this watch is the Grand Seiko SBGA 387. I've posted it on Instagram, so I know a lot of our listeners have already seen it. But a quick background on this: when we covered the Couture Time show in earlier this year, Grand Seiko was one of our first appointments on the very first day, and one of the first watches that Priscilla at Grand Seiko showed us was a trio of 3 watches that she said were all prototypes. They had not, this was literally the first day they had been shown to anyone outside of Grand Seiko. There was
the press did not know
no. I mean, this was
anything.
Literally the first time anyone outside of Grand Seiko had seen these watches. They were all 0000, serial numbers.
Right, and the movements didn't work. They were all set at specific time and date and frozen.
Yep. So these were just prototypes. These are all limited editions. We were told at the time these are limited editions for the U.S. only, which we thought was kind of interesting. There's a platinum version that they're making 20 of. These are all 44 GS cases, by the way. So kind of the angular flat surface, that traditional Grand Seiko case. There's the SBGA 385, which is a platinum version. They're only making 20 of them. And that's got a very, very dear price of $53,000. Very pretty watch. The dial it's a white dial. All of these dials are something that they call, or it's based on Kirazuri a painting technique that adds depth.
There's a ton of texture on these dials.
There's a lot of texture.
Very visible, like altitude changes on it. It's amazing.
Yeah, so kind of think snowflake, but different, right? The snowflake is supposed to look like freshly fallen snow. This, to me, it almost looks like parchment paper. It looks like
Jack Frost to me, like on a airplane window when you get a little bit of frost, natural ice patterns.
Yep.
Natural patterns are a really big deal for
Seiko. That's another great comparison. And so the platinum has a silver dial, silvery white dial with this texture. These are date only. With the power reserve, so kind of traditional spring drive. These are all spring drives. And then there's a rose gold version that they're making 50 of, and that is $29,500 retail. And that dial is more...
That looks a little bit like the ladies one that was $35,000 with the diamonds.
Oh, that
it
you
wasn't
tried on,
a spring drive, but it was a Grand Seiko for ladies. They're limited edition.
So this one is the rose gold. The dial is almost...
It's a little smoother, isn't it?
Well, it almost has like a brownish green tint to it.
Like a
in
cream,
terms of the color.
like a cream beige.
Yeah, and obviously it's to match the warmer tones of a rose gold. Really pretty. But the one that just, when I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a spring drive I want to own. Because I've always kind of gone through.
I knew you would, because men like blue.
Yeah, and I've looked at all kinds of different spring drives over the years. Love the snowflake. It's a really cool look, but I'm not really into titanium. And that's a titanium case. I've looked at the GMT, which is really pretty. I've looked at the chronograph, which is cool, but none of them had all the elements that kind of just said, this is it. I'm going to do this. And when I saw this SBGA 387, which is the third one in the series, they're calling the Heritage Collection. They're making 558, or they have made 558 of these. And
do you know the significance of the number?
I don't. That's something I need to find out from Grand Seiko.
Is it a 600 watch total for all three models, and maybe that's what's left after you remove
No, because it adds up to over 600 if you add them all up. So I don't know where the 558, I'm sure there's some significance to it. I probably should find out since I now own the watch.
I'm sure someone will tell us now that we're...
Yeah, if any of you guys know, maybe some of you guys know. This one is a stainless steel, and the dial is just this incredible ice blue, same texture as the other two pieces, but just this amazing ice blue.
It's closer to a cocktail time blue.
Yeah, it's close to my silver cocktail time, but there's more blue in it. But it's just it's an incredible dial. It really is beautiful. And I saw it, and I think I immediately turned to you when Priscilla was showing us these. I'm like, I may have to figure out how to buy this one.
Better start digging in the couch cushions.
Yeah, our normal digging in the couch cushions for watch money. But I mean, in all seriousness, this was for me, it was it. I was going to figure out how to buy this thing. So I came home. We came home after the show, and
well, she didn't even have pricing.
No, there was no pricing or anything. So we didn't know, but I'm like,
things.
Whatever this thing costs, I'm going to figure out how to do this. If I have to sell stuff.
I was really worried. I was worried because the other two were so expensive.
Yeah, but I knew with the stainless.
But proportionately, it's really a huge.
And it was limited, so we didn't know. I mean, it could have been well north of $10,000. We just didn't know.
I was expecting it to be at least that, like Rolex price.
Yeah, so once we came home, I think a week or two later, I think it was the next week, I was at an event at Topper Jewelers, which pretty much any watch collector in this country knows about. They're back in the Bay Area here in a city called Burlingame. And I was at an event there. It was a Casio event, G-Shock event, and was talking to Rob Kaplan, great guy. He's been with Topper for a long time. And I think it was right after I got home, the next day after I got home from the show, and I was talking to him, and I had ordered a Casio, or it might even been, no, it was before I went to the show. But anyway, I was talking to him and talking about the Grand Seiko, and I said, look, I think I need to buy this thing. You guys are a Grand Seiko dealer. What's it going to cost? And he told me the retail was going to be $6,800, which is not what I paid. I paid less than that, but $6,800 retail for a very limited, beautiful spring drive Grand Seiko. And so I put my deposit down, and that was it. So,
It's really stunning.
It is. And like I said, it came yesterday. We did an unboxing video that's up on our YouTube channel. You can go to the website and look at the unboxing video. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And
I'm sure some of the big Swiss watchmakers are, I don't mean to interrupt, but I bet you the Swiss watchmakers are liking that. I mean, not as in liking it for the competition, but they're going to recognize the quality in that.
Well, I don't know about the Swiss watchmakers, but I certainly recognize the quality.
Oh, no. I know you do, but I would be concerned if I were a really large, I don't want to name names, but
No,
they're going to
know
give
what you're
everybody
saying.
a run for their money with this because they're so beautiful.
We own some Rolexes, for example, and I look at this, and I spent 10 minutes looking at it under a 4X and a 10X loop yesterday. And the quality, they use that Zaratsu polishing technique on the case, combined with the dial, just the beautiful sweep of the seconds hand and the spring drive.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, this thing should be so much more expensive if you compare it to Rolex or Omega or any of those other brands that we talk about that are, in the kind of rather large price range of watches we talk about. We don't get into Pateks and all that stuff, but the quality of this, it surpasses all of those brands. I mean, it really is unreal, the quality that goes into these things.
Well, in general, I think Seiko is just an excellent, that's why so many people love them.
Yeah. Oh, so that was the other thing I was going to quickly mention with this. When they showed these to us, they just said they're going to be limited editions for the US only. Well, when they finally did the official press release a couple weeks ago, that coincided with the announcement that there was going to be a separate and wholly owned subsidiary, Grand Seiko USA.
Their own company.
So yeah, their own subsidiary that was going to be run here in the US. So these three watches are kind of to announce that and represent that new brand here in the US. So I think it's great. I mean, Grand Seiko is really going to start focusing on the US, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, Americans love Seiko.
Americans love Seiko.
And they love limited editions.
Yeah,
we go crazy for that.
And I like technology too. I mean, we talk about quartz, we talk about mechanical. This is such an amazing
and they're known for their.
Two.
They are the quartz people. Their innovations are incredible. So
yeah, and the history behind the spring drive movement is astonishing. I mean, it went on for 20 years from development to finally being released, and it really is just...
I just wish they had one that was a little bit smaller, but I know the technology can't be crammed in a smaller case.
We asked Nakazawa-san about that in our interview with him, and he said there's just, because of the spring drive movement, there's a limit to how small they can go on the case. This is a 40 millimeter, about 12.5 millimeters thick. It feels thinner than that, the way it sits and the way they've done the case back, kind of similar to how a Rolex does a case back. But it's just, I think this looked great on your wrist too at 40 millimeters.
It's actually, it doesn't hang over. What's the watch that you have that hangs way over? Is it the Pogue? That one's just so, I wanted to wear that so
Pogue.
bad.
That's the vintage Pogue.
Yeah, the vintage Pogue, and you can actually see daylight.
It's got pretty tall lugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the size is just fantastic. Everything about this watch, it just ticked all the boxes for me. And I am now very proud and humble owner of a Grand Seiko.
And I think
very
that is like an
fortunate.
heirloom to me. It really is.
Yeah,
Like something that is, a pretty amazing milestone watch, or it's that kind of caliber.
It is. And just, I keep going back to the polishing, but the hands are polished. The seconds hand is beautiful blued. The surround around the date window, that's also, I mean, it's just, they've done such an amazing job. The attention to detail is incredible. And then you combine that with the beautiful dial. It wears very comfortably. It's simple things like there's 3 different link sizes. So you literally can get the perfect fit on this bracelet. So no micro adjustments. There's 3 different link sizes and you mess with what you need to, and it's great. So,
well, at the risk of sounding like this is the Grand Seiko episode 13.
Yeah.
We
should we move on
so
from
excited.
the wrist checks?
Guys, he's so excited.
I mean, you can tell I'm
He's in
very
a good
enamored
mood.
with this thing. So it was a lot of fun to receive this yesterday, and I'm going to enjoy it for many, many, many years. So, and look for a review. I'm going to do a full review, hands-on review with this one for loveandwatches.com, possibly for wristwatchreview.com as well. I haven't decided if I'm going to have them publish as well, but I do want to get my thoughts out to as many people as I can. So it'll probably go on both.
And some neat pictures from our visit with them in May.
Yeah, for
It'll be
sure.
fun.
For
I think there already are a few, but
Yep.
well,
Yeah. Should we move on to our main topic and talk about gifting some watches and accessories?
Yeah. You want me to start with mine?
Yeah. Why don't you do your first watch pick? And again, these are under $500 USD MSRP pricing. So, even if you have to pay MSRP to get one of these, it's going to be under 500. That was the focus. We didn't want to blow this out into.
Well, I kind of
big
cheated with
expensive
that. I have one that the MSRP is high. However, I know that people don't pay MSRP for watches usually. It's pretty rare.
Right.
So I know there's creative ways to purchase watches.
Okay, well,
So
let's just
I'm
lay it
gonna-
out there. You're a
Yeah,
cheater, and that's
so
fine.
I'm
So
cheating. I'm only
let's go
cheating with 30%.
Okay, let's go with your first one.
33%. I'm actually going to do all 3 so that I get them grouped because they're in a group.
Because then I have to talk too long. I think we should go back.
You've been
and forth.
talking for the last 15 minutes.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So let's go back and forth. Do your first one.
Okay. So, like I said before, mine are the tank style or square or rectangle. And I'm doing one each of each style of movement. I'm going to do a quartz, a eco drive, and then an automatic. And the automatic is the one that's a little high, but it just really,
Okay.
I was really enamored with it. So
Cool.
first one is a Citizen, because I'm pretty impressed with eco drive. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to start with the Bulova. That one's the quartz. So this Bulova that I am going to talk about is, I'm not going to say too much because we're going to put some pictures on the website, but this one's reference number is 96M as in Mike 145, and it's in the classic collection. And I'm going to pull up my picture.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. I haven't seen it. Oh, that's pretty.
So this Bulova,
Great K-shape.
yeah, this Bulova is called the classic, and it's got a very, one, two,
What's the MSRP
7
on this one?
MSRP is $325,
Okay. All right.
and even on Bulova's website it says $260. And it's not quite a rectangle, like perfectly rectangle, but it's a little bit wider in the center, sort of like a curved shape, and it's got a white dial. It's stainless steel, Roman numerals, and a date window.
Love the texture on the dial. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a linen or silk
Like a
texture.
vertical linen brush.
Yeah, it's a really pretty watch, and it reminds me a lot of the Cartier ladies quartzes that
Yeah.
have that beautiful band with all those little tiny links. So I think something like this is a really versatile. It may come in rose gold too. You'd have to take a look, but most of the ladies watches you can get it either in stainless or in a colored gold. So if plain stainless isn't your partner's thing, then
Right.
just take a look and see if there's a
Good size.
two-tone or
Good size,
yeah,
too.
it's a really nice size. It's what does
like
it say?
just
It says
under-
no, it's
31.5 wide and 37.8 high.
got it.
Like lug to lug. It's going to be lug to lug because it's got
trying to find my little stat one. Did you pull? Oh, you
I
actually have.
I pulled it up on Amazon.
Okay.
It's on Amazon Prime for $243, so that's tough to beat.
Okay. So this one I liked because it's got the white dial, the Roman numerals. It has a lot of the same things that the Cartier watch has. And I just find that I can wear that watch. I could wear that watch with anything.
Yeah, it does. It does resemble or remind me of your Cartier.
Like this band is totally different than the Bulova band, but the Bulova has that tiny band, the tiny links like the ladies' watches
like
do.
a beads of rice almost, or grains
Kind
of rice.
Yeah,
almost.
they're not rounded.
Not rounded. Yeah,
but it's really pretty, and it's got 30-meter water resistance.
And you said this was the quartz, right?
This is the quartz with the date.
I mean, to me, this would work for whether your wife or girlfriend is into watches or not. I think this is a great choice for either of those types of people, for sure.
Yeah, it's a really nice piece.
And I love they use the Bulova tuning fork.
Mm-hmm. At 12 o'clock.
Up at 12 o'clock, which is so
and
cool.
The date looks pretty tiny, but I think the dial is a pretty big dial.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see that date, but whatever.
It's really pretty. And I'm sure you could probably, Macy's carries a lot of these brands too, and they have pretty darn good sales around holidays.
Yeah, I'm sure Macy's carries this one. That's a neat watch. That's a great pick. I think that's a really good pick.
You could be dressy with it. It's white, so it could be sporty.
Yeah.
They may even have one that has a black dial, but I just grabbed this one just because of the features that were on it that I liked.
Sure.
So
no, I think that's a neat. I think that's a great choice. I would definitely feel comfortable buying that for you, or I think that's a good choice, or my sister, or my mother, or any woman that I was looking to buy a watch for. So I think that's a good choice.
Well, and actually, the first watch you ever gave me right after we got married was a very tiny Bulova Classic watch.
Yes.
So that
rectangular, wasn't it? Or
it's oval.
Oh, that's
it's
right.
A little oval.
Yeah,
it's really cute.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I think it's a good choice. And at $250 on Amazon, it's super reasonable as well. So
I think it's fairly new. I think they call it it's the Classic Collection. I'm pulling it up right now just so I can look at the other color choices to let you know.
But
that
one's
a lot of
cool.
there's another one that I was gonna actually add to this. I'm actually gonna kind of take over here because I don't want to leave this one out. And it's on their front page, and it's still in the same collection called the Classic Collection. And it's almost a turtle shape. It's actually two-toned rose gold and stainless. And I'm not, you guys probably know I don't have a lot. It's not that I don't like it. I just don't have a lot of rose gold. So I'm not in the market for buying rose gold watches at this point. But
by the way, when she said she was going to take over, she's dead serious. She reached over and muted my button.
I didn't know. But before I get too much into this rose one, the one that I just talked about, the Classic, it also comes in yellow, all yellow. It's actually really, really pretty. I'm a big yellow gold fan.
That is nice.
Very, very pretty. They have so many choices. So if you're looking at a quartz kind of a thing, a traditional feminine ladies watch, I would check these all out.
I mean, I think anything out of the Bulova Classic Collection would be a good choice. Any of their offerings under $500.
I'm trying to find this list. This one that I just. Okay, it's called the Bulova Diamonds Collection, not the Classic. Oh, it is Classic.
It is Classic,
and it's called Diamonds, and its MSRP is $595. They're listing it as $476, but this one has like a turtle-shaped stainless case. The bezel is a domed gold, rose gold. And the dial is like a chocolate brown. It's also got
with diamond indices.
There's diamonds all around the case. The crown is rose gold, and then the band is a 7-link two-tone stainless and rose. It's actually a really, really pretty watch. And I know with rose being trendy, I think with this brown, it really gives it that kind of classic and modern look. So that was another one I was going to talk about too.
Yeah, if your wife is into a little more bling, diamonds, and fancy jewelry, I think she'd love that watch.
It's really balanced. It's got.
It is. I like it. I like the two-tone as well.
It's got Roman numerals only at 12 and 6, and the other indices at 9 and 3 are just a line.
Yep.
And then it's got like a basket weave, like a spirograph.
Zoom in on that more.
Panel on the center. It's just really stunning.
Yeah, that's really cool. I dig that. We'll list this one too. We'll put the reference number and a link to it. 'Cause I think
So I might be talking
I
about
think that's a
4,
good one.
but
That's okay. That's all right.
So that's 2 for me, and then I have 2 more.
Well, should I go to my first?
I was just going to quickly go through mine.
Okay.
All right. Look, you go ahead, honey.
Are you sure? Okay. That way we kind of go back and forth, and they don't have to hear me talk for too long and you talk for too long.
I just thought then they're not, if they just want to listen to men's, they can go from one to the other.
So, all right. So my first pick, moving on.
The real behind the scenes arguing.
Right. This is about as bad as it gets, though, I think, most of the time. So, so my first pick is going to be a Seiko. Actually, 2 of my picks are Seikos. My first pick is a Seiko turtle. Pretty much any turtle, I think, is a great gift for a man. I do. The one specifically that I'm going to recommend is the SRP 779, which is a watch that I own that you gave me last year for Christmas. It was my first turtle.
It was
for my birthday. I always get them confused. My birthday is only 6 days after Christmas.
That was a big surprise.
It was a huge surprise, and again, I didn't own a Seiko turtle yet. They're big watches. They're listed as 45 millimeter watches, but they don't wear like that. And I've heard other people with smaller wrists say that they don't feel like they're wearing a 45 millimeter watch. It's a dive watch, so it's going to be big and bulky anyway most of the time. But you know, you get the classic turtle case shape, which is just
iconic.
It's awesome, and it's very iconic. It comes with a black leather strap. You can get the stainless steel bracelet for these. Several different folks sell them. Strap Code, Market.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't sell with. It sells with the rubber.
It just comes with the rubber expandable strap. But
I found it at our local jeweler, who's an authorized dealer of Seiko.
Yep. Right
here in our little town. So if you guys have a small family jeweler, it's likely that they will carry a Seiko, or someone's going to carry some Seikos. Yeah,
for sure. Well, and Seiko's carried again at the large department stores and stuff, so you're always gonna be able to find this. It comes with, it's got the 4R36 movement, so day date, really just a good, solid, reliable movement. Black dial, and what really sets this one apart, and I think for me makes it very iconic, is it's got the red and blue Pepsi bezel. So that's why I think, especially if your man doesn't have a Seiko turtle yet, this is the perfect one to get him as his first Seiko turtle.
Men love the Pepsi bezel.
Well, I mean, we all like, I like all the bezels,
but that's a really popular one for men.
Well, it is. Look at the Rolex GMT Master, right? I mean, that's that iconic Pepsi blue and red bezel. But
which came first, the Seiko or the Rolex?
The Rolex.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe the Rolex was first with the Pepsi bezel. So this is out of their Prospects line. Again, it's got the 4R36 movement, nice black dial, big round indices. What else? Oh, and MSRP is $495, but you can find it for quite a bit less. I think Amazon's got it right now for $275. So again, super affordable.
Except you don't get a warranty.
Do you
get the Seiko warranty with a?
I think Amazon is an authorized dealer of Seiko.
When I got the Seiko 5, I think I saw.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a gray market purchase through Amazon. I'd have to double check that. If any of you guys know, let us know. But I believe you get the full warranty if you go through Amazon. So, you know, in any case, you didn't pay MSRP, which $495. You paid less than that. I've seen it in the 300s. On sale, whether it be at like a large department store or whatever. But I
paid close to MSRP.
You did it. You paid for something.
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, it's iconic. It's an awesome watch. Lots of different strap and bracelet choices out there, third party or Seiko. The one I bought from Mark at Island Watch was actually the Seiko bracelet. So that is my first pick. I think it's just a great all-around dive watch, and especially if your guy doesn't have a Seiko yet or doesn't have a Seiko turtle case, I think it's a great pick.
Cool.
Yep. Back to you.
Okay. My second one, actually it's third now because I got 4 total, is a Citizen Eco Drive watch, and it's called the Chandler. and the reference is E as in Echo, M as in Mike, 0490-08A as in Alpha.
Make sure if you're in your car driving, you're not writing that down right now. We'll post it in the show notes and on the website.
And
have you talked about this watch before? For some reason, I remember you talking about Chandler. Okay.
I recommended this to a fellow who emailed us to ask about a recommendation for a watch for his, was it his girlfriend? And I gave him a whole list of things, several watches. And then also this was one of the second one because I liked this square shape on it. And this one is another rectangle.
That's very tank-like.
Very tank-like. It's got a brown leather band with white stitching, and the dial is white, and the indices are stainless. So it's got it doesn't really have like lugs. It almost looks like it's a wire.
They're like
that's all connected.
Integrated.
Yeah, it's like integrated, cool, kind of like a Cartier Santos.
They kind of curve in. They're neat.
Yeah, and it looks like a brushed stainless, so it's not shiny. So it kind of reminds me more of like a flight watch or it's a more like a field watch to me. Well, so it's not as blingy. The other one was more feminine and very, very much a dressy watch.
You could dress that up. But you put a nice croc on it, or
exactly,
especially
kind of
like a
black
strap, and you could definitely dress it up. But with the brown, it's a little more like everyday dress down. Which this
also
fine.
Comes in yellow gold too, like a brushed yellow gold, which apparently brushed yellow gold is kind of a thing now, like in closet hardware, and
really?
It's not brass like in the 80s.
Okay.
Like all your brass stuff that's everywhere
right.
when your house was built in like the 80s. But this is or even 70s. But the new stuff is a brushed, like a matte.
Interesting.
Gold.
I didn't.
Yeah,
well,
it's a big deal.
So my Seiko Turtle SRPB, is it the 44 or 43?
The OG.
For the over gold, yeah, that's brushed
shiny.
case.
Is it a brush?
No, it's a brush case. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the gold Citizen is actually very, very matte finish.
Yep.
So is the stainless, but it's really pretty, and you could get an extra band along with it if you're going to give it as a gift, so that you can match it with anything. I don't think it comes with a bracelet, but
well, and you can't go wrong with EcoDrive. I mean,
I know
it just keeps running, right? It just needs a little light to charge, and you know, it's still quartz, but there's no. You don't replace a battery every 2 years or whatever, or every year. It just keeps going. So
it's got a really long standby time. It says 10 months, I think, on one of these.
Yeah. Oh, they last a long time. You could leave it in your watch box in the closet for months and it'll still be ticking away.
Yep. EcoDrive technology, never needs a battery.
Yeah, I think. And what's the price on that?
$140.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a price performer.
Bargain. Oh, totally. That's a total bargain. I love it. And you could probably even find it cheaper, but even if you paid MSRP, you're getting a good deal, I think.
Yeah, and look at the gold one's really pretty. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, no, I think it's another great choice. It's a really good looking watch. I would have no issues buying that for you or any.
I think it's a little smaller than the last one I talked about, but this one is.
What is the size?
I can't tell. I didn't take a shot of that one. My bad.
We'll list it in the show
we'll
notes,
list all
and there'll be the link.
Data. So so that's it. So it's called the Chandler Citizen EcoDrive, and it's a rectangle. It's less ornate, but super duper sporty. You could probably get different colored bands for it.
Yeah.
I imagine you could get aftermarket bands too, because it looks like there are lugs there. So if you measured your diameter, you could probably get just about anything in a quick release band.
Yep. No, I think it's a great choice, and it can be dressed up or down. So
it just needs a little bit of light.
Yep. Cool. Good choice.
Cool. All right. What's your next one?
Okay, so my next one is moving away from the big chunky diver, and more if you're guys looking for something that's a little more everyday, or even something that can be more dressy, worn with a suit. Going right back to Seiko, it's tough for me to get. I mean, Seiko's
They're
awesome.
impressive. Yeah.
So this one is the Seiko Presage. They're all nice. I like all the watches in the Presage line, but specifically the SRPB 43 quote unquote cocktail time. This is a watch that you also surprised me with.
Yeah, these aren't the actual cocktail time, but they made them
correct
after the limited edition. These are the
still
production.
Call them cocktail time.
Yeah, but they were so popular that they believe they just made a whole bunch of regular production.
Yeah, these don't have the 6R. They have the 4R35 movement, so that's the date only. But the SRPB 43, it's a silver sunburst dial. Beautiful, beautiful dial. Let me see what the size is. I think I've got the website open. Let's see, Seiko Presage. There it is.
I think I've tried it on too, and with a fuzzy, a gray fuzzy sweater, it's really pretty.
Well, that's what I like about this one is, it came with this glossy patent leather strap. Now, if you're wearing a tux or a suit, fine. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to dress it down a little bit, and I think the first strap I bought for it was a Barton quick release, like a blue canvas. I mean, it totally turned it into just a great everyday classy watch. It's 40.5 millimeters, so it's good size, not too big, not too small. Under 12 millimeters thickness, so nice and thin. Mm-hmm. Sits really well on the wrist. You can easily slip it under the cuff of a suit jacket or a dress shirt. So
it's got an exhibition back, right?
It does, yeah. Mm-hmm. It has an exhibition back, which is always fun, especially if it's for someone that hasn't owned a watch before. That really kind of draws them in. Yep. Having that mechanical movement visible.
That's why some of the lower, price range of automatics for ladies, they have the exhibition backs, like all the Tissot's and some of the Hamiltons. It's a really neat gift to be able to see that, and it really gets people interested.
It does, and the one thing I like about these Seiko Presages is that the dials kind of remind me of Grand Seiko. They don't get the specific Zaratsu polishing, but the shape of the hands and the shape of the indexes,
the composition
are very kind of
definitely
cut and
it really
sharp
showcases
edges.
The dial. There's a lot of negative space with dial, and it's very symmetrical. So your eye isn't distracted by a lot of stuff going on, like multiple windows. It's really, they're showcasing the dial and the just the basic classiness of it, I think.
Totally, yeah, and it's got the crown is really good size. It's easy to get a hold of. It's, I guess, mushroom or. It's more
like a cupcake.
Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
that's our new crown designation. It's a peanut butter cup. But yeah, it's just a cool watch. And again, if your guy is maybe not into divers or already has a bunch and maybe needs something that can be dressed up but is also just great as an everyday wear, I think any of the Presages are great choices. But I just really like the silver dial because it goes with anything. Blue dials sometimes can be a little hard, especially if you want to try to dress them up. So I think the silver dial is just perfect for any occasion. List price on this one is $425, but you can get them for just under $300. I know Mark at Island Watch has them. I've seen them at the department stores in the $300 range.
And that was at our little local place too.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think that's just another great pick from Seiko. Mm-hmm. So that's my second.
Nice. Okay. My, last one, although I have a couple others up my sleeve, but we'll see how much time we have. I actually stumbled across this one just recently, and it's actually an Oris ladies watch, and it's the rectangular date. I couldn't find a model number on it. Rectangular date, silver dial, brown leather ladies watch. And
this is your cheater.
This is my cheater. And I'm going to...
Yeah, because from Oris it has to be.
Yeah, this is not cheap. Okay. The retail on this, I think, is about $1,600. But I've seen it listed on reputable sites for under $600.
And just a little disclaimer, you're at that price, you're probably not going to get a factory warranty,
no.
Correct?
So okay. We're not advocating we're not advocating anything other than the watch itself.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when I look at a watch like this, I don't really think of Oris.
That's what's totally really Cartier tank.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that is a tank right there.
It's got an item number, but I don't know if that's the factory item number here on
the reference number's up there, we're not going to read that. It's up.
Oh, that huge thing.
That's the reference number, and we're not going to read that out. But we'll post it for you guys.
So anyway, this one has almost like a Jaeger-LeCoultre Art Deco angling on this this is a stunning watch. I love it.
It's very Art Deco, especially the lugs.
It's really pretty. It's got multiple layers of like molding on the case, and it's a chunky rectangle. It's got blue Roman numerals, shiny, like really bright, beautiful blue, royal.
Is that a date above the 6
It is.
o'clock? Okay.
It's got a date, and it's got flower petal hands, kind of like the Traska, and it's got a blue dial. It looks like it's got loom.
Oh, the hands are they're hollow. They're
flower petal.
They're skeleton.
The flower petal, but it's loom on the inside.
Oh, that's loom.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
a
loom.
skeleton. Okay, gotcha.
And it's got the date, and it's got a wavy. Is that a guillot? Like what do you call that?
Oh, like a circular guilloche.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah,
it's a beautiful, beautiful watch. It's got a brown leather band on it, and I think there's others like it in the family. They've got the stainless, the stainless bracelet, like the Cartier ladies with all the little links, almost like a rice but squared.
Yep.
And they've got a black dial one.
I like the white dial with the blue. That's really classy.
and I really love a metal bracelet myself.
Yeah.
But
it's going to get more expensive though with a bracelet.
that's why I kind of picked this one. But it has an exhibition back. It's an automatic, and it's just really I was pretty impressed with it.
So the message here is if it's important to have that Swiss made, or you want to buy a Swiss watch, you can do it still at a reasonable price point. We couldn't quite get under 500. And if you're willing to forego a factory warranty, you can do it for a little more than 500. And it is a pretty watch. It's really, really nice looking watch. So
yeah. There's also along those lines, and I can't find my link to it now, but Tissot makes, and they're Swiss, they make a whole bunch of ladies' automatic watches. They range in size from like 30 to 34 millimeters, I believe. And those are also super affordable. If you're looking around that $500, $500 to $600 price.
Tissot and Mito. There's some,
I saw some
good
of those
affordable
too,
Swiss brands, but usually it's still going to be tough to get under that $500 MSRP.
But they have a whole bunch out there that are that have mother of pearl dials. They've got the 80-hour standby because of their silicon parts in the automatic watch, exhibition backs, metal bracelets. Some have a couple of rubies or diamonds on the face, but there's a lot that look almost like a field watch, but they're definitely a lady's watch. But I've been really impressed with the Tissot watches, and most of theirs are round, so that's kind of why I didn't pick one for today. But we try to kind of find something in everyone's price range, so we don't want to just stick in one thing. So to one price range.
I think that's a good option for sure.
All right, do you have one more? Or
Back
are we
to
good?
me, I do. Okay. I have one more. So my third pick is a watch I actually had in hand for a while. On loan from Hamilton, which I think is another great Swiss brand. Used to be American, it's now Swiss. But this watch was a big hit when it came out. I believe I think it came out last year, 2017. Pretty sure.
They've got some really nice ladies' watches too, but they were out of the price range for today.
Yeah, but so my third pick is the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical. And I had this watch in for a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, wrote a review for wristwatchreview.com. I love this thing. It is such a cool watch.
We both wore it.
Well, again, so it's at 38 millimeters. So it's a watch that you can...
A lot of ladies like that size.
You can share, right?
Yeah.
It's just a basic three-hander. It's got an ETA 2801 movement. It comes in a black dial and a brown dial, and I personally love the brown dial. I'll give you guys links to both, but I think the brown dial with the let's see, what is that strap?
That's a black dial right there.
So there's the black dial with the green, like the military green, khaki green strap, like, and then there's the brown dial, and
which is like a Desert Storm color.
Good description. Yeah, it's like a desert like colors.
Desert.
And I love the chocolate brown dial. It's just pretty. It's kind of it's a Flieger style dial. So it's got
pardon my slurping.
Arabics 1 to 12, and then an inner circle 24-hour indicator. Super,
That
super.
could have been really useful for me when I was working in an industry that went by 24-hour clock.
Yeah. Really cool. As I said, 38 millimeter case. It's a sandblasted, I believe, finish on the case. $470 MSRP, $475. Again, no date. This is this manual wind, which to me is really cool.
That keeps it thin, huh?
It does. It's 9.5 millimeters, so it's really, really thin. I don't necessarily think this would be a good choice if your husband or boyfriend is not into watches, because it is a manual wind. So I think a manual wind these days is more for an enthusiast or a collector. But at under $500, you get a really cool mechanical movement, manual wind only. There's no rotor in there, so it's kept nice and thin.
And if they're nostalgic, it would probably be a good choice.
Oh,
even if they're not
sure.
into watches, it's
very American military feeling. And I think you could, well, it's based on a Hamilton military watch from back in the day. So,
and anyone over the age of 40 is probably going to have had a manual wind watch in their lifetime.
I would think so. And my first watch was a Timex manual. So yeah, it's a really cool watch. It's more sporty, kind of everyday sporty with the band it comes on, but you could easily put a nice leather band on it and dress it up. Yep. So,
it comes with a NATO, right? It's on a NATO.
It is. It's a textile strap.
Yeah, because it was a very masculine look for me, but you can always change the band.
I think we actually tried a different band on it for you. We put one of the leather bands on it. It looked really good. So yeah,
or a white linen. That's
pretty.
It
would look good with that too. But just a super cool. I think it's a great choice for under $500. Again, for your husband or boyfriend that's into watches, I think they would probably love this watch. And again, wrist size, I don't think it's got pretty tall lugs. I noticed, so it doesn't. To me, it didn't feel like a 38. It felt more like a 40.
Yeah, it felt large for me too.
Yeah, because the lugs are super, super tall. So
because I have other watches that are 38 and they seemed a little smaller than this one.
Yep. And that's the lug to lug. I don't recall. I'd have to go back and look at my article. I don't recall what the lug to lug was, but definitely tall lugs on this guy. So it doesn't, which I think makes it good, because my 7.5-inch wrist, usually a 38 doesn't work. It's a little bit too small for my taste, but that one I had no problem with. I really liked it. And it's probably a watch I'll still eventually buy one of these days and own, because I really like it. So that's my third pick.
Okay.
Should we move on to accessories?
Yeah. Do we have time? I know we've been talking for quite a while.
We always have time.
Okay. I'm going to talk. I'm not going to say too much about what the rest of my ideas, because it's all kind of a trifecta. But I think something you could add to a watch as a gift for a lady is a little bracelet. And a lot of women like to stack things, like multiple bracelets or a bracelet with a watch, or, some other jewelry with your watch, and like a dainty chain, or, a gold chain, or a bangle, or any kind of matching, something to match the gold is really, really fun to go with a watch, I think. And some people, there's a lot of differing opinions about it'll scratch your watch, etc. But you could always wear it on the other hand too. But if you're going to a party or going out for the night, I don't really think you're going to do too terribly much damage if it's for short periods of time. But it really does kind of, the right bracelet can go nice with a watch. So if you get something that matches and you've put the thought into it, and it's a nice, thoughtful thing to add to a watch. Like, I just received a little bracelet from a family member for my birthday that is a silver with a little tiny rose gold heart. And I've been wearing that with one of my watches that has rose gold pushers. And I've worn it with...
Which watch?
That Technomarine has the rose gold pushers, and it's mostly iridescent.
Yep.
And then I have pink hands on my Speedmaster, like baby pink. So the rose gold matches enough, because you can mix your golds up.
Oh,
gotcha. I guess that's okay to do, apparently, according to
I
the powers
know.
that be
I am fashion
out there in
illiterate.
fashion. Oh, me too. I'm mostly getting dirty outside with my animals, so I'm not a fashion plate. Not a fashion plate. But yeah, so a ring or a bracelet is a really nice thing to pair with a watch, as long as it's pretty simple, I think.
Yeah,
And the other thing I wanted to add to this trio of gifting fun is a box for your watches for
to store them.
Yeah, to store them in with a glass top, because if you're going to get an eco drive, you're going to need some sunlight, so you can't really keep it in a drawer or it's going to go dead.
Right.
And there are a number of...
Plus, it's just nice to look at your collection.
Yeah, there's a number of boxes on Amazon that are really super duper affordable in different colors, and they have a glass top and there's a little lock. So if you have littles at home that you don't want to get their hands in there, you can lock it up. But there's also some really nice travel watch cases. I find the rolls don't really work for ladies' watches because they're so big. You can't actually you can't close the watch if it doesn't have a regular pin buckle. So it just depends on the type of
like
band.
A pillow.
Yeah, like a pillow. Like most pillows don't fit the ladies' watches.
Right,
You can just tuck them in there without closing them though, but then they're not secured. So I really like I have one small box that I got on Amazon, I think, that has a zipper around it. It's sort of a padded vinyl, like vegan pleather or something. And it's got a
genuine.
You can get
pleather.
boxes that if you go on business trips or vacations or camping, whatever, you want to bring your watch and maybe an extra ring or an extra bracelet or a couple necklaces. You can get some small, that can go into a tote bag that you can fit a watch or two, or even like a roll-up roll. Because I've found that like my 5 watch roll-up canvas one from Terry, Toxic NATOs, you can use those for everything.
Yep.
You can use it for jewelry. I put sunglasses in them, things like that. And a lot of watchmakers are making those bags. And I think Michael's doing one too, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Or is that secret?
No, I don't
no, it was
think
on
it's
his email.
secret.
It was on his email. So, so I know the Seals Watches is releasing one too, but those are all sort of a military khaki style roll. Dan Henry's is the same way, but I think they make some satiny, girly ones out there in internet land that, they're more like a dressy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be dressy if it's functional. But you don't have to just put watches in it. You can put your glasses or necklaces. I use pouches to, sunglass pouches to put things in too. So I think, why are you laughing at me?
I'm just laughing because I have nothing to talk about now because you stole my pick.
Oh, I said it would be a surprise.
You didn't look at the notes. You stole my pick.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought I said a bad word or something.
No. I just laughed. I'm like, because now I'm trying to think of something else I'm going to talk about. You totally stole my pick.
I guess we should probably have a summit before we do this.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Hey, we're having fun here. But anyway, the trifecta for me, I think, if you really want to go for it, is a small watch box or jewelry case, the watch, and a bracelet that all match. And I think you can't go wrong with
and you
like
could
that.
easely do it for under $500 based on some of the picks today. So
yeah,
you can
especially with the quartz or eco drive.
Yep.
But
yeah. No,
so
definitely.
I'm sorry I stole your idea without noting it.
I'm like quickly trying to think about, but just that was something that I would like to receive as a gift as a guy would be a watch roll, because they're, like you said, Terry makes them. I own a couple of his 5 and his 7 watch, and they're great. They're,
7.
whether it's your watch has a bracelet or a strap or whatever, they just slide into the pockets. Usually all loaded up with, I'll take the 7 watch and I'll load it up with 6 watches. I'll use the 7th watch pocket for some extra bands and maybe a cleaning cloth, and then there's a small pocket in there for a strap changing tool. And
that's a good idea.
That's another great accessory. Would be some sort of a strap changing tool that has a point at one end and a fork at the other. So based on whether you're resizing a bracelet or you need to pull it off the watch or whatever, you've got the tool for that. So
that's a really nice idea for the ladies too, because you could get either men or ladies an extra band with the watch.
Yep.
And then give them the tool so that they're not having to go to the jeweler to do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think that's
if it's not quick release.
I think that's a great accessory. I think another one would be like a set of small screwdrivers, because a lot of bands require a screwdriver to change them.
Where did you get this set that you
Those
used
I
on
got
our
from
desk?
Auto Frey, Frei. And those are Bergeon. So those were not inexpensive, but you can get more basic ones on Amazon pretty cheap. You can get a set of small watch screwdrivers for $20 on Amazon. I think that was more like $70 or $80 for that.
There's a number of little
Great
watch-related
accessory.
tools.
Same
yeah.
with like tweezers. Getting a set of watch tweezers, because I use those for doing bracelet stuff too.
Or even that block that you can hammer the links out using.
Yeah, you can. I've talked a little bit about tools on past
Mm-hmm.
episodes. So whether you consider them, accessories or not, I think they'd be good, non-watch gifts that are still watch related. But for me, the number one is the travel roller. They're great. I mean, we've got other types of travel cases. We've got the hard-sided round ones. They look like tubes, but again, they're limited in what they can hold. They're a little bit more bulky.
However, they are really secure. Like my watch roll, I've had things fall out of it.
Yeah, they will protect them. So they're definitely, in terms of being able to protect the watches, I think they're a little bit better. But for me, the roll is just easy. It packs in my suitcase or my carry-on.
I actually fold the top flap over on my large watch roll so that when I roll it up, something can't fall out the top if I
think
tip
that's
it.
how most of them are designed. But and the cool thing is Terry makes them. When I bought mine, he just had the one color. It's like a khaki green with a brown inside, but now he makes it in really kind of cool, flashy orange.
Ooh, that's sort of like an Hermes orange.
Oh, it is actually,
pretty.
yeah. And then he makes it in a black too. And in 3, 5, and 7, I think they start at $40 for the 3, and then $50 and $60 for the 5 and the 7, respectively. So I think that's a great accessory for a guy or a girl. But I think these are would be a little bit more fitting for men. Especially if you're just a total watch nerd and you want to take 5 or 6 watches with you for a 2-day trip, which is what I do. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of orange, that was another bracelet that I had written down that I forgot to talk about. Is Hermes makes their leather bracelets. I know a lot of people love the Cartier Love bracelets, but they are a hefty price.
What does that mean? What's hefty?
Hefty is like $6,000. Like it costs more than a watch.
That's hefty.
Because it's solid gold.
That is hefty. Yeah.
And that's probably going to scratch your watch up pretty good. But that's a pretty popular one to stack. Again, you need a screwdriver to get that watch off. So that's a safety issue for me with livestock. With a Cartier Love bracelet. I was talking about the $6,000.
Screwdriver?
Yeah, it actually has screws on each side.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's crazy.
It's put on and it stays on. So, however, Hermes...
So, ladies, if you're wearing your $6,000 Cartier, it's Cartier, right? Mm-hmm. Screw-on bracelet, you probably don't want to be sticking your hand down in a running engine compartment. So just keep that in mind,
like
okay?
Or get caught on a fence, or
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
However, leather wrap bracelets are really nice too. So there's all different budgets of leather wrap, and those I think are a really nice bracelet to wear with watches because they're not going to scratch your watch at all because it's soft.
Yep.
And Hermes makes some pretty amazing leather with the chrome and gold and rose hardware. They're around the $500 to $600 range, but there are other brands, of course, of wrap bracelets, and you find everything from soup to nuts. So a really nice leather wrap or vegan leather to go next to your watch would be a really nice, a nice addition, and you're not going to scratch it. So, and that could also be stored in your little watch case. Like the watch case I have on my dresser has the glass top, and it holds, you can get them in 12 and 24
Yours
watches.
Is a one layer, and it holds like 25 or 30 watches,
because
right?
I'm short. I think it holds 24. But you can pull those pillows out and use it as a jewelry box too. I see a lot of guys put their watches in there without the pillow. They just set the watch in the bottom, and then you can put other things, change or earrings or necklaces in the other boxes. So I think it's a really versatile box because you're not really limited.
I'd like to see someone come out with one where you either choose the pillow size when you buy it, or it comes with interchangeable pillow. I mean, something, because like
inflatable.
For yours, like you said, you can't, if it's got a bracelet, you can't, it's just too small. Your wrist size is small. So then you can't you you can't do up the bracelet, so then they kind of sit awkwardly in there.
Inflatable would be ideal. Put your watch on and then blow it up.
There you go. Yeah. Or just
Except that's not going to last long.
An adjustable pillow. I mean, there we go. We're going to invent an adjustable pillow and make millions of dollars
right.
on our
and now,
adjustable watch pillow.
Watch box companies are getting on it right now.
Right. Well, yeah, because I'm sure they're all listening to this show. Well, I think we've let's see, how are we doing on time? Oh man, we're over an hour.
We've gone on and
pretty
on.
Good. We did pretty good. So I hope we gave you guys some good ideas for Christmas. That was the whole point of the show. I like your picks. I think they're great picks. I'd buy any of those for you or
I like yours
my
too.
mom or sister or anybody.
That's not my Christmas list, by the way.
Oh, it's
Don't
not.
be afraid.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm happy as a clam.
Well, that's good. You just had your big 50th birthday party, so you're done.
That's right. I'm officially done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Anything else we need to cover? Or, I mean, I think we did a pretty good job today. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments on Instagram or on the website. Please let us know what you think about the show, and let us know how we're doing. I know I'm always asking you guys and harping on you, but please give us a rating and a review, especially if you listen to us on iTunes. It's the only way we can improve and deliver the content that you guys are looking for. And, we just hope you're enjoying the show. We're 13 shows in now, and I think we're getting into a rhythm and, finding good topics to discuss. But, if there's anything you guys want to hear, definitely let us know. Email us. Hit us up on Instagram, whatever. We're always listening and always willing to take any kind of ideas from you guys. And they're starting to come in, but the more the better, right? We're kind of developing a topic list for the next several shows, and anything you guys want to hear about, just let us know.
Yeah. But you can direct mail either of us or the Love and Watches.
Yeah, you can just email admin@loveandwatches.com. That gets to both of us. We have a contact page on the website. You can DM us on Instagram, Ranch Racer, Perpetual Girl, or Love and Watches. Any of those three accounts you can hit us up on. Love and Watches is probably the best because that's kind of where we're collecting input. But you guys know how to get a hold of us, so definitely let us know.
I have to say, it's been pretty nice that Kaz and Mike have mentioned us on their show too. That's I wanted to thank them.
They mentioned
personally.
us, not this week, but on last week's show. And I'm always getting people saying, hey, just heard about you on Two Broke Watch Snobs. So those guys are great. And a couple of really good guys, and they got a fun show. And they've really, I know we've talked about this a lot before, but they were an immense help for us getting our show going and continue
our inspiration.
They continue to be great, great friends and are helping us grow our show. So we really appreciate it, guys, if you're listening. So definitely go check out Two Broke Watch Snobs if you have not listened to their show. It's a lot of fun. As I've said before, it's adult rated, so not something to listen to in the car with the kids. It is for grown-ups. But they have a great time, and again, we're kind of our inspiration for
they're very
doing
sharp,
this show.
very funny. It's
all about not taking the hobby too seriously, enjoying it, and doing it on a budget. So so good call out there. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it. We are at almost an hour and 10 minutes. And
I got to be somewhere.
Oh, you do. So, all right. Well, thanks again for listening, and we will plan on speaking with you again in episode 14. This is Ranch Racer
and Perpetual Girl.
Thanks, everyone. We will see you for episode 14.